Welcome to anybody who is just joining us for the first time on this journey. Some of us have been together in the past few months and behind the scenes preparing actually over the last year. But it brings us to this important phase right now where we really get to express ourselves with the creation of these drums towards the birthing process. One of the questions that we're asked quite a bit is what's inspired us to take up this challenge on this journey? And as you saw at the end of that clip from the Downey Wenjack Fund, it says hashtag do something. And that was something that Gord really stressed. He said there's something wrong in the country. And he says, we got to do something as Canadians. We got to do something. And that really tugged at our heartstrings, like a lot of things do. And that especially tugged hard because of Channy's story and then how compassionate Gord was when he heard about that. So what inspired us is we know the power and the medicine of that drum, that Dewegun, that living heart. And when you compare that to, let's say, the work that Dr. Emoto has done with water, and when you can express love and all those positive attributes into, say, a droplet of water, and then look at how that structure can change. And if you look at what we are as human beings, the percentage of water, which is very, very high. And so when we connect together, there is really nothing that separates us. If you think of this like, say, in a quantum relationship. And so we have here what we would call our little droplet. And it's from the tree nation. It's that gift of the white pine. And so we looked at, if we can express all of these positive attributes into this, each one of us, and then we start to combine more of these, and in our case, 13 together, and then we multiply that again by 101, there comes a point where all of that good intention is just going to be like a snowball effect. So that's kind of the short of it as far as what's inspired us is we know the medicines that have been handed down from generation to generation and how powerful they are. And so we thought this is something that we can do, as Gord put it, to do something positive. And it's just that we don't know what's going to happen, but we see this project taking on a life of its own. So we just wanted to share that for anybody who's joining us for the first time. And again, thank you for joining us. So now we'd like to go into the introductions. And so with who we have joining us for this workshop this afternoon, we're going to look at our screen and start in, let's start in the top right-hand corner, which would be Michelle Elise, and we'll go across, we'll follow that direction of the Haudenosaunee, and we'll go across and do the circle that way. And what we'd ask you to do is if you could introduce yourself and give us a brief overview of what inspired you to join us on this journey.
Chimigwich, Nyawe. Just so honored to be part of this journey with everyone here. My name is Michelle Elise Indigenous, Métis Algonquin Bear Clan. Yes, I mean, I do, there's a lot of things that community to me is so important. And when we're able to find platforms for us to have a voice, to be seen, to be heard, and to be doing it always in a good way with good intentions, I find that that is a positive step forward in building a stronger cross-cultural society and where we can bring Canadians together with Indigenous people and really understand the power that we can have together in building a safer and more, a safer and a beautiful future for the next 7 generations. And I'll never forget meeting both Jackie and Oliver at Brock University at the market down down, I guess, at the market and we were sitting down and just talking about this concept. I think it was right before lockdown in February, and it just blew my mind. I was like, absolutely, this is incredible. And as they were speaking, my mind was just growing with the desire to do whatever I can to do something from my perspective and what I do in community, and what can I offer to be able to help move this along and to help move Canadians along this journey as well. So I think that, and now it's just so dear to my heart. And it's part of my everyday. Like I think about this and I'm so grateful and so excited about starting to sand today and get this vision that you've had going forward. So Chimigwech Nyawagoa for inviting me, and thank you.
Yeah, Chimigwech. Okay, so moving in that counterclockwise direction, we have Fran and Rob.
Okay, so my name's Fran Porter. I live in Dunnville, Ontario. Just I can see the Grand River from my front yard if I walk out to the end of my driveway, and we're just close to where the Grand River goes into Lake Erie. So it's a really incredible place to live. And then, and what we're talking about how we got into this project, is that
sure?
I don't know. Gina asked me, Jackie Oliver asked me, I said yes. I think Rob and I joke sometimes, but it's not really a joke, but sometimes you have people in your life, and when they come to you with something, an idea, a project, you tend to say yes to them because I've had such great experiences with Gina, with Jackie and Oliver, and actually with Michelle Elise as well. And so yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with this. I'm really excited to get it started and to see where it goes, and just really honored to be working with all of you. And I've met Jess now through this, and she's awesome, and I'm sure the rest of you, and Steve I've worked with on different things. So, and I'm really excited to get to know other people too. So yeah.
I'm Rob. I don't even know what to add to that really, but I feel responsibility, to live out the 2-row wampum, and that has led to all kinds of incredible ripples from that. Thank you, Gina, for the ripples. Yeah, to me, everything, I'm just living on the water, and I am the water, and I'm part of this circle, and I'm really happy to be here in what feels like a circle with everyone. I feel like we're all actually together, not just on screens, and I'm very grateful. So thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess that's us next.
Okay, well, I'll go first then. Isego, Digaya Dakwas Onkyats. My English name is Jackie Labonte, and my Mohawk name is Digaya Dakwas. And yeah, I just, I guess for me, just looking at different things, and it evolved, and then just, wow, just kind of like flew off on its own pretty quick too. But going back to even Gord Downey's kind of suggestion or challenge even to do something was it was inspiring, in that when he found out about the residential schools and what he was able to move forward with that, and I thought, wow, like that's like so many people in our community, okay? And even so many people within the families of individuals that went to the residential schools. Like, so our family is kind of a product of that. because my father was in the residential school for a good 10 years of his life as a young 6-year-old to just weeks before he turned 16. He was in what we call the mush hole on Six Nations. And so hearing about it afterwards, when he was willing to talk about it, just was such an eye opener. And I think it's the same with a lot of people in our country, when they hear about it and like, wow, like that happened here. And it's unbelievable that things like that happened. And it's totally amazing and shows the resilience of our people in being able to come through that, being able to survive that, and move forward in different ways. And some of it wasn't always in the most positive ways, but at least they were able to still be here, and they were able to share some of that, even not in not coming from a good place, I guess, because of the addictions and different things of self-harm, but they were able to kind of share that to some extent to let us know what did happen. And so we're reminded that those effects go on for a generation, 2 generations, 3 generations, and so we're still going to be working through that. And I think this is one of the most positive ways that we can do that, is working on this project. And we've been looking at drums for over 20 years now, and that was one of the things that really I guess inspired me in working with drums, was to see the medicine that they are capable of. Sitting with someone, sitting with a medicine man and experiencing that and knowing what these drums can do for individuals. And so that was kind of our push, I guess, was to put as many drums out there that we could, because knowing that it could help people in different ways. And so when this idea came to fruition, it was like, well, we started off just like a small thing, like seeds do. It was just like a thought, and then we started talking about it, and then that part grew even, and then we started reaching out to our friends and family, and it's just it's just mushroomed so nice, and it still feels really good to be able to carry this forward. And so for me, I guess that in touching other people in whatever way, because they're going to become aware of Wenjack Downey names, and they're going to become aware of these different issues that we still have in our communities. And so I guess that's the push for me in moving forward, is to bring these out, to have these drums, and wow, like the beauty of them. It, like, everybody has such great gifts, beautiful gifts that we can share with each other, and we've seen that already. And yeah, so that's, I guess, a big part of it, is just sharing with each other, supporting each other, and who knows who we're going to be able to support, every one of us, be able to support. Like someone mentioned, that ripple effect, it is going to ripple out there, because we're all connected to different circles, and those circles are they might be small, but they're pretty big. So that's I say now, just for everybody for being here and joining, and even just catching a glimpse of this. If that's what it is today, then who knows what is going to be tomorrow. So Nyawa for that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Oliver Nobison, and my family background is comprised of Swampy Cree, German, and Welsh. And so there's, I would call it a history of some cultural tug of war within our own family. Anyway, that aside, one of my favorite artists is Rupert Ross. And during his career, he worked as a Crown attorney, and he traveled around the north of Ontario a fair bit, and visiting the smaller communities. And he met with a lot of the elders in these smaller communities, and they gave him what for, as he said one time, and like the kick in the pants kind of thing. And he wrote about that in his books. And one of the things that he talked about in the one book was about, we all have some kind of a skeletons in our closet. And when the time comes for us to work on them, sometimes it's not the easiest thing, and we need medicine. We need to help us look at those, and to let go of what we need to let go of, and embrace what we need to embrace. And so he said, with Indigenous people, we've begun that. And it's not easy, but we have our medicine still to help us with that. And he said, one of the things that was going to be a big challenge was when the rest of Canada, I'm not sure if he used those exact words, but kind of the rest of Canada, start to open up their closets and what they may find. And they're going to need a lot of help and a lot of medicine. And so he said, what we're going through now, we're going to have to really consider helping with that, not keep that medicine to ourselves, but to help with that for others who are going to need medicine when their time comes. And that brings me to one of the things that the Downey Wenjack Fund are stressing is about what they call reconciliation. So you take the word reconciliation, and of course, we know about the truth and reconciliation in Canada. And I really liked what I saw with that word that was created, reconciliation. And so I look at what we're doing as being just that. It's a reconciliation. And we don't know how it might help, but we know that it will help. And so I guess a lot of it's a faith that it is what it is, that the medicine is there, it's strong, and it's available. And the more of us that come together to combine our gifts, as Jackie mentioned, to put that into the form of medicine in the creation of these drums, and then to let these drums, let that emanate out, just like when you throw a pebble in the, like say in a pond, and you see that ripple start to flow out in all directions. That's the same as what we look at this being, is this is the pebble being tossed, us coming together here right now, and the ripple that is going to come out from this is this project when it takes on a life of its own, as it has already. So that's what's inspired us as well. So, and with that, I'll end.
Yeah.
So that brings us over to Jess.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess Boulay. I learned about this project through Carissa. She's teaches my daughter in SK. When I learned about the opportunity to be a part of this project and connect with you all, I was very excited. So I'm here to learn, connect, and support. And just thank you very much for letting me be a part of this wonderful cause and project. And I've already met most of you, and it's been great.
Okay, now
And so we're going around the circle still to Gina.
Well, hello, everyone. This is just a great opportunity. I've known Jackie and Oliver for a long time, and Steve and Fran and Rob and Carissa, and recently got involved with Michelle Elise and Jess, and I think it's just really cool. And you know, whatever we could do as human beings to promote wellness and love and kindness to others, to me, that's part of our journey. I think it's almost like a no-brainer. Like, I think people in wherever deserve to have what I think all of us here have, that sort of peace, who we are, and whether it's to be shared in through the arts, through the medicines, it's just a really great opportunity. And I think, like everyone else has said, I think it's going to be a huge ripple effect. And I think it's if it touches a way that I think it's going to, I think it's just remarkable. So
Yeah.
Okay, next on our list would be Rin, but looks like he's just stepped away from his chair. So let's jump over to Lumpy. Take. Oh.
Hello. Am I on?
Hello. Yes, you are, Lumpy.
Okay, good. Like I said, I'm new at this. My name is Steve Donaldson, but I prefer Lumpy. I've been called Lumpy since I was about 18 years old. And from the time that I was given that name, my life changed for the better. All of the bad stuff that came with my original name and the family and everything else that went with it just kind of disappeared and was taken over by a new life. So I prefer to be called that. If I know some people are uncomfortable with it, but you know, try and get used to it because it's who I am. As for this project, I got involved. Oliver showed up. Oliver and Jackie and I have been friends for a little while now, not anywhere near long enough in my book, but Oliver showed up in my driveway one day and started talking to me about this project. And he pulled out a drum frame and started the conversation about what this was going to be, what this was going to be all about. And I don't think he got more than 20 words out of his mouth before I said, yeah, I'm in. I want to do this. As Gord Downey said, we have to do something. And as soon as this opportunity came my way, I thought, yeah, I can really get involved in this. I could really enjoy this. I can really contribute to this. This is something that I have some background in with I've done a few drum workshops and I've done a lot of woodworking and so on. And Oliver asked me if I would help make the drum frames. And I jumped at the opportunity because I thought this is going to be so incredible. So pretty much every piece of wood that's gone into the 101 Deweguns was cut personally by me in my workshop. And then I assembled a number of them and the rest went back to Oliver and his son-in-law and got assembled. And here we are today. I'm a settler in background and an ally. I've been an ally for as long as I can remember. When I was a kid growing up, I had some Indigenous friends. And in my hometown, only 1,900 people, and there were people from every race, color, you name it. We had a couple of Black families, we had a couple of Indigenous families, we had some Asian families, and everybody got along and saw absolutely no difference between each other, except some of us were nice people and some of us weren't. And that's the only thing that ever divided any of us. And my my lifetime ambition is to, or has been to, try and unite the world on that thing that should keep us apart. We're nasty. And then you have to learn not to be nasty and you can come back into the circle. So that's what this is all about more than anything to me is I want to see the unification I want to see Canadian people, settler people who have no idea who their Indigenous neighbors are. And there are millions and millions and millions of them who they may talk about racial equality and so on, but millions of them have never met or talked to or spoken with or learned anything from an Indigenous person. And to me, that's the only way that we're ever going to be able to get together and do something that's good for everybody is through one-on-one meetings, group meetings, but get everybody in a room and let's just talk and get along and get things done. And I think this 101 Dewegan project is exactly going to do just that all across the nation. and I can't wait for it to get rolling. So that's my story. Thanks for bringing me along.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes.
should be good.
Our screen has changed. We're like the Hollywood squares, but we're going around. So let's jump over to Carissa. Oh, and is Erin with you? Oh, there's.
Yes, she's sitting right here at the side.
We don't believe that hand. We need to see a face.
Here's mine. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carissa. Jackie is my mother. So when your mother asks you to do something, you do it. Just joking. You do, but that's not why I decided to be a part of this. When Jackie and Oliver talked about this, I was like everybody else. First thing you said was yes, like before they were even done, you knew in your head. It just felt right. And so I'm glad to be a part of it. And my hope is that I get to bring a little bit of something that I know to somebody else. And then it goes around, it gets spread around, and then everybody will know this much. I think that's a great way of learning. We don't need to know lots to get any little bit of great news out there. So we start with a little and we grow big. It started with 2 people and there's 13 of us here now. And even with just those 13 of us here now, we all already know that there are many others out there. Hi, Quinn. That are already a part of this, even though they haven't started yet. I've made many new friends along the way already. I'm very excited for that piece of meeting more people and creating this drum. I created my first drum. I can't even remember how many years ago. It was at Ungwatsi Artisans outside in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And then from there, I had created another one at a different event later on. And then I owned my own childcare center for a few years, and I was able to bring drums there for the students there to paint and decorate them as a different project that Oliver and Jackie had done. And now I get to help bring this project to students in my class again. And I'm glad that I get to be an educator to bring this into schools. And I'm with the District School Board of Niagara. So I've got that little in there to get us going and moving a little forward there. And I have also spoken with some teachers with the Catholic board in the Niagara region, and they're on board as well. So it's like everyone said, you just mention it and everyone's like, yes, they're hooked immediately. And I think it's a great thing. So glad to see everybody. And I'm not sure, but are we moving to Erin since she's next?
Yes.
I don't know.
So Erin is my daughter. She's camera shy. She'll only see her hand usually. Maybe she'll pop over a little bit, but say hi.
We won't hurt you.
So I asked her earlier, why did she want to be a part of this project? Like what made her want to do it? And she said, she's being really shy, sorry. She said that because Dida asked me to, Mom. And she's like, and I like taking pictures, and Dida asked if that could be something that I could do for this project. So Erin is, along with my niece Ashlyn, are going to be photographers for us taking some pictures along the way. I think that's a little ironic that they like to take pictures, but they don't like to be in pictures or on video and seen. So hopefully as we move forward, that little piece of being comfortable and seeing people and getting out there will help her. That's my goal for this project for her, is to just help her be seen a little bit more.
Okay, Nyawa, Nyawa.
Chinesh. Okay, speaking of Aaron's cousin Ashlyn, um, Ashlyn, are you with us?
Yes, sorry, my camera's not working.
Oh, okay. Is that a wink, wink, nudge, nudge?
I have to use my school computer and it's just not working.
Okay, you're on.
Okay, well, my name's Ashlyn and I really just heard about this from my grandmother Jackie, and she also asked me if I would take photos for this, and I can't really say no. So I said yes, and I'm really happy to be here and learn more and just hear about everything. Yeah, so that's all.
Okay,
Yeah,
Chinesh.
Nyawa, Ashlyn. Right. Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead,
we're up to Rin.
Rin has returned.
Oh, Ani, yes, I'm back. Bojo Rinadishnakas, Mishkwadese Nadoram, and St. Catherine's Nadujiba. So I heard about this from, I forget who, somebody sent me an email, but Michelle just wanted me to come along, and I'm very excited to work with drums again ever since we did that through NAPAM, did drum making with Jackie. That was very nice. So I'm excited to learn more about drums and connecting with people. So miigwech.
Okay, Nyawa, yes.
I think we saw Claudette up before. Is she still with us, or
No, it doesn't seem like.
looks like okay, so there's the 9 of us on the screen. That's everybody that's with us. Is that correct? Okay. One of the things that do you want to explain about the lead up to the song?
No, go ahead.
Okay. In one of our teachings, we're told that every generation has that responsibility to look after the soil, and part of that's metaphoric, and it's not only just talking about the actual soil, but the water, the air, all of our relations. That every generation has that responsibility to look after that, so that our little ones have the ability to plant their seeds just like we had that ability to plant our seeds. And so the reason we asked everybody to share what inspired you particularly to join on this journey is because that inspiration comes from something deep rooted within you, within all of us. And when we can share that gift that we've received with one another on a project such as this, then as we've heard a number of you mention, that it's amazing what can come about from that. And so with that, we want to honor everything that's inspired all of us and everybody who maybe viewing on Facebook, and even those that will be looking at the recording of this later on and during the multitude of workshops that are yet to come over the next few months. And but if you just excuse me for a minute, I'll be right back. So.
And so part of it is with these songs, it's a great way also to have a voice. And I've seen that in some young people, especially that are learning the different songs, and whether it's ceremony or social songs, that it's a good way to introduce them to having that voice. And we see that even with those young ones, even like as young as the ones that Carissa works with, that song, and it's the easiest way, I guess, to learn things as well. Eh? If we can remember for ourselves learning that alphabet, and we might not have been able to recognize all of those letters or what it was all about, but we learned that song pretty good. And a lot of the other songs, that go along with that teaching, with the learning. And so this is I think this is a good way also to have that voice and to put those voices out there.
If you saw me, I was looking back there just quickly. You may notice behind our shoulders, there's a big log that's laying out there and some sticks and stuff. And we just recently, I think we're into our second week now of being kind of rescue parents for a little squirrel. And he doesn't like to be kept cooped up. So wherever he's sleeping right now, we're not quite sure, but this song might bring him out. So if you see this little guy running around behind us, don't be alarmed. We're perfectly safe.
Oliver's made this whole jungle gym behind us here. So we've got a huge log here, limbs here and there. Plus he goes up and down the fabric.
Hey, if I was a squirrel, I would like this. Way high, high, way down. Way high, high, way down. Way high, 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 oh, way, way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down. Bind again, Miss Show, Miss. Bind again, oh, come, Miss. Bind again, Gishi Manito. Way down, way high, 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 oh, way down.
Way high, way down.
Way high, high, way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down. Bind again, Miss Show, Miss. Bind again, oh, come, Miss. Bind again, Gishi Manito. Way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down. Way high, high, way down. Way high, high, way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down. Bind again, Miss Show, Miss. Bind again, oh, come, Miss. Bind again, Gishi Manito. Way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down.
Way high, way down.
Way high, high, way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down. Bind again, Miss Show, Miss. Bind again, oh, come, Miss. Bind again, Gishi Manito. Way down. Way high, 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 oh, way down.
Yawachimigwech for that gift of song for our sacred items that help us with that.
Well, don't worry, everybody. Your clothes are about to get dirty, dusty here real soon. We just wanted to share a little bit more for those who may be joining us for the first time. Now, in saying that, we encourage everybody and invite everybody to visit the 101 Deweguns website. And possibly we can have that address in the, if it isn't already in the, what do you call that thing on the side that?
Chat.
The chat. Yes, thank you. We're just totally newbies to this whole thing. So what we want to do right now is just quickly run through the 4 stages of. Oh, there, Jess has put it up there. Thanks, Jess. We want to run through the 4 stages of the frames from where we are right now. Actually, it'd be 5 if you count all of the tireless, dedicated hours that Lumpy has put in, and myself and Doug into cutting and gluing and sanding and routering to get them to this stage. But from this stage on, we have these frames are the way all 101 are right now. Is they've been rough sanded and routered, and now they're in our hands where we're going to use 80 grit sandpaper this afternoon. And what we're going to do though is we're not going to pressure anybody into completing these drums during the workshop. If we get them started, or if you want to even hold off to really get into the sanding this evening or over the next few days or a couple of weeks, we're leaving this one completely open to when you're feeling, what's the word? Inspired to sand. And so this is the frame the way they are now. So then once the sanding is done, and I don't know that the camera can do this justice, but this is after, and these are sample frames, these 4. And this is after it's been sanded with the 80 grit and the 150 grit. They're really nice and polished, and they're ready for the wood burning. And that's what's coming up next. Is once they've been finished sanded, then we put the coat of varnish on them, and you can see where we outline each of the 13 sections. We would burn that, and they're numbered. Each frame is numbered. So like 1 of 13, et cetera, et cetera. Or sorry, 1 of 101, 2 of 101, and each frame has the 13 pieces within it. And then our awesome good friend Gina, we asked her to paint 1 drum complete. So this would represent the finished drum once the artists who have yet to come forward, but when that's coming probably down the road a few months, if not a year from now.
I was going to say there are some that have already given their interest in being able to be an artist for the drum. So that's awesome. So we've got some even before the drums are completed. So just putting that out there too. So if you know artists, that's what we'll be reaching out for as well.
And all that information is on our website. And so it's real easy to fill that out, to request a drum, a finished drum, to have us send to you, to keep as long as you need within reason, and to finish the painting. And here's that same drum once it's been laced up. Okay, and that represents these 4 stages of the oh, sorry, we can't forget the strikers and the strikers that go along with the finished drum as well. So these are not only works of art, they're functional as well.
Just read that one here, okay. All right. Okay.
Michelle, Elise, I saw that you wanted to share something. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Okay, to me, this is a big message. While you were singing, 3 eagles flew and danced right in front of my window. They're huge. So I just had to share that because I don't know if you can see, I had to run out and take a picture, but they're huge. And they came to visit as you were singing, but they were dancing like just right in front of my window. They were just playing with each other.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
Cool.
And anyways, I was just so taken back. Are they? Can you see it?
Mm.
Anyway,
Michelle,
Yeah.
I saw your face and I said to my daughter, eagles just flew by her window.
you did not. Really?
I did. She goes, how do you know? I go, she's taking a picture. We'll see it in a minute.
It was incredible. Like I started tearing up. So anyways, I just smudged and I had to share that with you. And it just means that what we're doing today, they know. And that message is being carried out. We're talking about that ripple effect. They came to tell us that was a message.
Mhm. Yes. Well, thank you so much for that, because that's one of the things that I always suggest is that you watch for those signs that are out there. They're going to show us in that natural world those different signs. Those messages will come, and they come from a lot of different places, even from each other, and from books and from whatever. But so just even going on with that, we had in delivering these frames the other day, we did come up to your place, but we didn't want to leave them because no one was home. And so leaving there, and I thought, oh my gosh, and I didn't have my camera with me, but there's a pair of eagles there, that kind of are around your place then. And they were sitting up in a tree up just right
Just down the
close to the
road, yeah.
road. Yeah, just down the road, and just like so close to the road too, and the trees just along the lake. And so I shimmied over the fence there to try to get a picture, but they're just so beautiful. Trying to enlarge them on the camera, it loses the grainy, it goes into that grainy thing, but wow, just the picture itself was, and to me, so that's like that sign too, that we were out delivering these frames to different places, and again, they showed themselves to us with that. And like I said, those leaders within that winged kingdom bring that message to the creator. And so all of us are a part of that in having these drums with us now today. And that's one of the things that's going to be those sacred items when they're and they are anyway, they are now, even from the beginning, because even with the wood that we're using, and Oliver showed you the piece that makes up the 13 segments that make up that frame. This is from that white pine. And for us as Haudenosaunee, this is a real symbolic message and symbolic structure that we have. Those white pines represent that support, that nation of people, and that support. Because for us as Haudenosaunee, we're told that our people fought amongst themselves. Like hundreds of years ago, they fought amongst themselves. And we had this prophet come to our people to bring the message of peace. And so nation by nation, he visited, because like looking at the 5 original nations of the Haudenosaunee, he visited each one to bring this message of peace. And so if you've noticed, like when those winds come along, those pines, those evergreens, they have a kind of a shallow root system. So it's more surface area. So when those winds come, they can be uprooted pretty easy. And so the white pine was chosen to be uprooted, and it leaves a little divot in the ground. And so then it was all those weapons of war were put into that divot in the ground, and that tree was uprighted again. And so it to keep it kind of like support, to keep it standing, to keep that message going, to live in peace and harmony amongst each other. And so it takes all of the people to do that. And it's stronger, like with people. We can only do so much by ourselves, but if we're standing like shoulder to shoulder, right, and just have that strength amongst each other, then we can build on that. And so those evergreen trees, that white pine was chosen because it doesn't change color. Eh? It keeps that color, it keeps that green consistent throughout the different seasons. And so that message will always be there. And it's that eagle that sits on the top of that tree to watch out over all creation. And it warns us with those cries if there's any danger approaching. And but also he watches out for us, and to kind of ensure too that we're carrying on what we're supposed to be doing. So that skana, that peace amongst our people, and that is a part of all of the relationships that are built. And so with that white pine, that message of it, that peace being forever, continuing forward into the different generations. And so that's why we chose the white pine. And there's one of our elders that has passed, Jake Swamp, and he started this project, this peace project, a number of years ago. And he has planted like, or helped to plant thousands of white pine around the world. And we have one right here in Niagara. And it's he was scheduled to come and be a part of this interaction between our Native community and Family and Children's Services here in Niagara. And unfortunately, he passed just a month before that. But things went ahead, plans went ahead to do that. And so that tree is dedicated to Jake Swamp. And it's on the grounds of the Family and Children's Services here in Niagara. And so, and there's a lot of pines really in the area as well. But that particular one, I go and visit it periodically just to put my medicine there again, and just to help to carry that message forward between that relationship that was established then. And so this is us moving forward. That white pine also represents those 5 nations of the Haudenosaunee people, the original 5 nations, with the Mohawks, and we're called keepers of the Eastern Doorway. We have the Oneida Nation, the Onondaga Nation, which is our council nation, and then the Cayuga, and then the Senecas, called the keepers of the Western Doorway. And so with those 5 original nations, if you open up the needles on those white pines from that little bud that attaches to the tree, when you open up those needles, you'll see there's always 5 needles, and it represents those 5 original nations. And so with that, and then everybody and anybody is able to come under that tree, come under the branches of that tree to pick up those teachings, to walk with that peace, those messages. And so so that is pretty powerful, I think, of the message that our ancestors brought us with this white pine. And in moving forward, those messages are going to continue. So we've got a lot of people behind us kind of pushing this forward, even in just having the white pine with us. And so for that, we offer our humble gratitude and thanksgiving that we have those messages.
Okay, we're really close to starting the sanding, but just before we get there, we're going to invite Michelle Elise to share her vision of the drumming from coast to coast. This is really exciting, and if this doesn't give you goosebumps to be part of creating these drums, to be able to then drum coast to coast, it's just wow. So take it away, Michelle Elise.
Annie, thank you. Going back to that vision and that one day that we were just going back and forth, and it was just amazing, that synergy that was happening, and things were just evolving in our discussion and dialogue. And then all of a sudden, what I saw was these 101 Deweguns, these drums that were made finally after what, 1.5 to 2 years. And we would have them in specific locations across Canada, which would be kind of like that web that would connect us all together. So starting out the east, maybe up a little bit to the north and down, and we would just kind of like blanket 101 of those drums throughout Canada. And each of those locations, we would have one person that would be the caretaker of this drum, that would be also bringing community around for that one specific day that we're all going to across Canada, north, south, east, west, and everything in between, is we were going to drum. We'll start in the east, and they'll share a song with their community, and that would be with Indigenous and non-Indigenous, but that drum would be the one that would be in the forefront. And we would also be recording this live. And then, so they would have 5 minutes. So that song, once again, with all of the energy that has gone into every single detail for the last 2 years of these drums, we'll be able to hear that energy. We'll be able to hear the sounds that it has obtained and absorbed within itself. And each of them will be different in every story. So they'll sing a song, let's say about 5 minutes. And then we're going to cut and we'll segue right to another location with that community around. They could be up on stage, you know, I don't know, but that drum will be showcased and you will get to hear the sound, the beat that it produces. And then when they're done, it just keeps going. Almost, it's just like dominoes. It would just keep going right across Canada, all the way around. Once we've all drummed in those spaces throughout Canada, we have now unified. So we've drummed across Canada to unify and to really show how connected we really are and how we have to stop being divided. And these drums with the sound of the heartbeat will bring us back to our original instructions, back to basics and what Gord Downey really wanted us to hear and to do and to move forward in. As the last drum sings, then we do a 5-minute all together. And that's where we all show that we are united and honor Gord Downey for opening this platform for us and all of us that have put in this energy. I just think it's going to be amazing. We all drum at the same time, but I'm seeing, you know, working with television stations and working on Facebook and the different social medias. And it's just like, boom, 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 boom. And it's just like, it just follows. It's just like a domino. And maybe CBC will carry it. Maybe APTN will carry it. So that's the dream.
Okay, yeah, miigwech.
Yes, thank you.
And if the government doesn't hear it by then, if they don't hear what we're doing, maybe we should put speakers in right at Parliament.
It's a good idea. And then once we've completed that drumming from coast to coast, then we're looking for a permanent home for all 101 Deweguns, where they'll be kept together and able to be showcased. Each Dewegun, each drum has a very elaborate story to share. All that energy that's gone in from so many different people into each of these drums, and you'll be able to interact with each of the drums. But it'd be so nice to be able to see them on wherever they're housed all together, and then individually you can click on. So there's a lot still to come, and we're just so excited to well, like they say, the what's that about a journey always starts with one step, the first step, eh? So here we are in those first steps moving forward, but we can always already see what lies ahead of us. It's really exciting. Okay, so we're going to bring this frame back into view again. I'm going to stand up. So now is the point where it's going to get pretty noisy, and what we may do is put our flute music on in the background, and but it's up to you, our participants. If you want to unmute and we can share that sanding sound, that's what we really love. That sounds so cool. And so we would encourage you to unmute at this next stage and share the sanding. Um, but our hosts are going to jump in periodically and ask for a good news story. So within, oh yeah. So maybe the sanding will jog some good news stories within us. And whenever you want to, I'm not sure if we put up our hand or what we might do, but our hosts are going to ask us all to pause our sanding at that moment, and then we'll listen to those good news stories. Because part of this workshop today is about recording these good news stories for our social media platform and our website. But what we've done to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit for anybody who shares a story, and this includes every story. So you can share multiple good news stories. Each one that we have submitted to us, your name will go into a monthly draw for a Dewegun.
Raining?
And so we're going to continue drawing one or draw one name per month until all of the drums have returned from being painted by the various artists. So that could be a year and a half, 2 years down the road. So there are quite a few drums to be given away for each of your good news stories that's submitted. So now to the sanding.
Can I just,
Oh,
I
sorry.
did want to just mention that on the outline that we got, you were going to talk about the 13 moons.
Yes. What we'd like you to do is when we put our hand up, then we can pause our sanding and we'll jump into that then.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And same with the good news stories. Jackie's going to jump into at some point, and then so that will be our form of a good news story. Although our name won't get put into the draw for the drum.
And are we supposed to save our sandings?
The sawdust?
Yeah.
Sure, that would be excellent if you could, because actually, thanks, Fran, that's a great idea. What we've done is between Lumpy and Doug and myself, when we've been working on putting the frames together. Oh, by the way, hi, I'm Aaron. You just see my hand now. Sorry, Aaron, I'm just poking some fun. We're saving pieces from along the way. So whether it's the pieces of wood that are left over or the sawdust, in the case of what we're doing this afternoon, and during the number of workshops that are yet to come, if we can save that sawdust, and then when the drums have all been completed painting wise, we're going to birth them. When they all come back to us after being painted, we're going to have a birthing ceremony for all 101 Deweguns. And so for that sacred fire that we light for that part of it, that all the sawdust will be included, all the wood bits will be included. And so, yes, thanks. That's a great idea. So what we're going to ask everybody to do is, you'll notice on the frames that there are some distinct lines, and both on the top and then when you flip it over on the bottom as well. And so those lines, we want to use our 80 grit and sand them smooth so that the top is nice and round and smooth. And anywhere else where you can find, where you feel any roughness, like say in the case of this knot right here, whoop, it feels a little bit rough there. So that would take a little sanding. And you can spend as much time right now as you wish on the 80 grit. And where you're using the 80 grit to kind of take it down fast, faster than what the 150 grit would do. And then once you're happy with how the frame looks with the 80 grit, then we can switch to the 150 grit that you have in your kit, and then finish off, and that'll just put a really nice sanded, like almost a polish to the wood, and that'll be ready for wood burning after that.
Okay. So we'll turn some tunes on that you be able to hear, and Anybody wants to share a story? Just turn your mics on, get our attention, and we'll continue with those. We just want to thank everyone for being here and being a part of this 101 Deweguns today. Although it started, this is kind of another start to the project.
Oh, I have my hand up. Sorry. I'm known for doing this during our in-person workshops as well. We just nicely get started and then I ask everybody, hey, can I get your attention for a minute? So I forgot to mention that we're also sanding the strikers. They've been rough sanded, but if you take your 80 grit sandpaper and just go over them, and we're going to leave this up to your imagination, because there are some nice bumps and grooves that are in these driftwood strikers, and that you may want to leave intact. So it's mainly just to kind of maybe if there's any loose bark on them that you want to sand off, or you'll notice as well, there's a flat spot that's been sanded already. That's where some wood burning is going to go on there. So that could be sanded a little bit more with the 80 grit as well.
Sanding here, right?
No, I think we're just
I want to do this part. Get this nice and do a couple things there. Make sure they can hear. Trying to wake them up.
Yeah. Guess we can see if the curtain is moved. I'll be right back.
With the sanding part, we never think of letting individuals know not to wear black or dark colors with it. So it's not going to be black when you're finished, or it's not going to be dark. That sawdust gets around.
Do you want to jump in and share?
So with these good news stories that we're looking for is it can be like few, and so the name in hearing what that story might be, those names where you get that from is going to go on these blocks. It's going to go on the frames, and there's 13 that we have to make up the frame, and so it's within each frame, and so that what will be wood burned on all of the individual pieces after. And we did one on the sample one, and I don't know if you can see. This one is just honoring the 101 Deweguns, if you can see that. And so each section will have some type of dedication within it. And so those are what the good news stories will be about. So in hearing them or recording them, and so whoever brings that story forward, their name will go on the in for the draw, for that monthly draw. And I think it's probably going to be around Aboriginal Day, in around that time that we'll
Mid-June,
we'll
yeah.
look at doing the first draw for that. And so we need to be able to kind of push that forward and have everyone, or even everyone sitting here today, to put forth a good news story. And then your name will go into for a draw. And then whoever affected you or you want to honor, their name will go on one of the segments of the frame.
So who wants to start us off with a good news story while we're sanding? Let's see whose hand. Oh, there's Lumpy's hands up.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so the story I'm going to tell is it kind of fits in with the story that we already heard about the eagles and signs and knowing that you're on the right path. And last year when Oliver first started talking to me about doing 101 Dewegans, and we kept looking at, okay, when are we going to get started? When are we going to get started? And at first he wanted to wait until we wanted to get everything donated. We wanted to get the pine donated to us. And both of us set out to try and make that happen. I spoke to a few local lumber yards and people, and Oliver did the same. And we couldn't get anybody, mostly because of the times we were at with everything being shut down and everybody was having a hard time. I think that was the main reason why we couldn't get the donation. And then Oliver called me one day and said, look, I'm tired of waiting. We've got to get this thing rolling. So I just took my own money and went out and bought the pine. And if it's okay with you, I'll show up at your place with it. I don't know if it was tomorrow or in a couple of days or whatever, and we'll get this started. And I had been pretty much chomping at the bit to get going on it anyway. So I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Right. So anyway, he showed up here with a truckload of I think it was 1x8, wasn't it? Pine boards.
Mm.
And we carried them all out into the shop. And I had never done this part of drum making before. Oliver had a piece for a sample that would help us get the angle set up and everything. And I don't know how many of you do any woodworking or anything, but when you divide 360 degrees by 13, it comes up with one god awful number that you have to try and set a saw at so that every piece is identical, so that when you pull them all together, they'll come together properly with no gaps and so on. So I had never done any of this before. We carried all the lumber in and we started talking about, okay, this is the first step. We had to rip it all into full lengths. So we did that, I think around 2.5 inches. And then it was time to start cutting the angles to get the pieces, the 13 pieces for a drum frame. So we used all of I saw, according to his sample, as accurately as we could, just used it for a jig, pushed it up against the saw blade, got it lined up properly, and then locked my saw down so it would stay in that position. And we cut the first 13 pieces, just hoping that we were going to be somewhere close to being able to put a drum together. Because if you're up by 1/2 degree, it's not going to work. It's got to be pretty much dead on. So we went ahead and we cut the first 13 pieces. We took them over to the table. We set them all down and glued them, and we wrapped the strap. There's a strap that goes around it that brings the whole thing together. And it was absolutely perfect in every way, from one end to the other. Every piece was exactly as it should be. And there was no more worrying about getting it right. The saw was locked in. It was going to work. And from that time forward, Oliver left shortly after that. I went ahead and cut the 1313, which is exactly what the number of pieces in 101 Dewegans, plus a few extras just to make sure, you know, we had no faults, right? Cut them all, and there wasn't one that had to be thrown out. Every one of them came out exactly perfect, the way it was supposed to be, the way it was planned. And what that told me more than anything was that not only we were on the right path with this project, but the timing of Oliver going out and buying that lumber when he did, getting in here when he did, the two of us being in good health and being able to get together in the shop and do that work that day. Every last aspect of that was exactly perfect because every piece of every drum frame and every drum frame turned out perfect. So that's my good story. Thanks.
Yeah, well, Chimiquat, it's lumpy. Yes.
Okay, who's next? Who has a good news story and it can be about anything, inspired by anyone.
I have one. So this
Okay,
year,
go ahead, Jess.
oh, thanks. This year, we are running the Shoebox Project Room, which is a local fundraising effort for women in need in Niagara. And we found that we weren't able to do the, hey, Billy. Sorry. We found out that was going to be virtual only, so we couldn't collect donations and they had to be cash only. Our coordinators from the last year, just because of COVID and everything, fell off. And I found out that there was a lot of people asking. There's a lot of women in shelters this year. And the ask was over 800 women in need that could use a gift from the Shoebox Project. We didn't think we were going to be able to do it. We found out that there was 339 women staying in shelters this holiday season. So our goal was, at least we're going to get every woman who's staying in a shelter a gift. Unfortunately, this year, we probably wouldn't be able to get women who are accessing those programs a gift, but we're going to do the best we could. We lost a lot of the contacts. Sorry. We lost a lot of the contacts that we normally have from people that donate gifts because we couldn't collect them this year. They didn't want to participate because that was a way, it feels good to give something. And I understand that. So we had to turn to different ways. We reached out to businesses and the community itself of Niagara really stepped up, and through making different connections and meeting people through the community, we were able to do 875 gifts to women this holiday. And it was through new connections and the power of community. So that's my story.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to jump in at this point and just in sharing about the whole concept of sharing good news stories. When we first started with the vision of this project, we were looking at a monetary support mechanism that would be towards the names being wood burned onto the frames. And we took another look at that, and just because when we first envisioned this, it was in the fall of 2019. And then within about a month and a half, when COVID erupted, then the whole landscape changed, as Lumpy mentioned, and Jess as well, with people's ability to donate. And so we thought, and we weren't sure how this may also have impacted the Downey-Wenjack Fund's ability to provide the programming that they do. And so even though we were originally looking at raising funds ourselves, we thought, we need to raise people's spirits. We need for all of us to raise our spirits. And the Downey-Wenjack Fund, they have an awesome platform to be able to access their website in donating. And so we thought, it's probably not our place to reinvent the apple cart. Is that the right thing? Anyway, if the apple cart is ain't broke, no need to fix it. So we thought, but what we could do is we could really focus on engaging as many people as possible. to put the word out. And because we've always seen where this project is going to be like a big, gigantic snowball, and or like a giant shoebox that that just tumbles and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger every roll it makes. And so it's going to have the momentum all on its own. And so if we can get that started by simply reaching out to people with their heartfelt stories that we all have and that we can share, and excuse me, in sharing, we're going to help lift one another's spirits. And when we can do that, it puts us in a really good place. Like all of our relations, everyone that we know now or we don't know, but we will soon enough. When we go through this reconciliation process together, there's going to be some beautiful, big relationships forged throughout these next couple or few years in this project. And so when I look at now a frame that is absent any names of people who have been honored with these good news stories, that's only temporary. It's just because it's just the beginning. But soon enough, all the frames are going to be covered with people being honored through these good news stories. So I just wanted to share that's how important these are for all of us for this project. So with that, does anyone else have a good news story they'd like to share before we put the flute music back on?
I have a good news story to share. It was really at the beginning when we were talking about fundraising and finding funds for material to get this up and running. And I think it was my March meeting with my Celebration of Nations team. And I was talking to them about this concept that you had brought to me. And both Annie and Sarah were just absolutely elated and saying, sounds amazing. And at that time we were talking, let's launch it at Celebration of Nations. You know, we had all these ideas. And one of the things I thought was great was that Annie and Sarah, like we have our budget, and a lot of the budget usually goes right to all programming and to mostly for our community. And they kind of surprised me when they basically found some, like we looked at where our budget was, and without telling me, they found some extra funds that we had for Celebration of Nations that we wanted to put towards this project. And that's when they offered the check to you for, I think, 6,000 or 7,000. And I was kind of chuckling because they said it was like a surprise to me as well. Because I remember I was going through the books, wow, that's amazing. But it was something that was, you know, I didn't know if we were able to do it. And when we started looking at where we were at, we had those funds, and it made me feel amazing. It made them feel amazing. And it also helped move it forward. So yeah, just being part of that part.
Regret, yes.
I also have, if anybody wants to hear, I have a preview of Jackie was our voice for this upcoming Her Moccasins talk, Honoring All Our Relations, which is a sonic tour walk in from Lewiston, basically our part to the Lewiston Queenston Bridge, and which was our old portage trail for many different Indigenous nations going back for millennia. So Jackie was her voice to giving the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address in Mohawk, and I have William and I produced it, so it was a mommy and me production, but I do have it, and it does have the flute in it. It has waters, it has birds, and so it's about 8 minutes if you want me to put something like that on, so you can actually hear the raw version. It's not mastered yet, so it's very raw. It's from the day that you came in for, so it's up to you. You can let me know.
There's your response right there. Yes, please.
I think we need to do a remake first.
No, no, it's already gone to mastering in LA. We're actually launching it on May 15th. So you're all going to hear just the raw version. You're not going to hear yet the mastered. And when we do the master, I'm going to have everybody on Facebook and we're all going to, our Zoom, we get to listen to it. But can I share my screen?
Take it away.
Yeah, it's enabled.
Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Oops.
Oh, look at that. Okay, the one Rin has.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Hello, Rin's helper.
Oh, look, there's a smile.
All right, she just got out of the bath. This is Makwa.
Makwa,
Say hi.
Annie.
If this was in person, she'd be like, "Oh," she'd be hiding.
I love it. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to put it on. Let me know if you can hear this. Yes?
We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms, from waterfalls and rain, mist and streams, rivers and oceans.
Oh, it stopped, Michelle Louise. Or
Can you hear it now?
we can hear the music.
Oh, okay, I have to keep my mic on. So there we go. Can you hear it properly though?
Mhm.
Okay. All of the music has in flute. This is actually Gary Parker who's doing the flute for us here. So it's all people from our community on both sides of the river. I think this is another feel-good story just because we were all able to come together during COVID, one way or the other, whether it be from recording, doing it via Zoom, to produce such a beautiful, I guess, honor all our relations, and also to be able to teach others to be mindful and to love. So I want to say thank you for Jackie for being my voice. You're going to come up in a minute again.
Nenwa nene harates twine hot gachage hotne.
We turn our minds to all the swimmers. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the waters. They also give themselves to us as food. So now we turn to the fish and we send our greetings, our gratitude, and thanks. Now our minds are as one.
That's it. Sorry, Jackie, I thought you were on that one as well, but that was Queena from Tuscarora that did that, the waters, or the fish. So that gives you a glimpse of what I was trying to create.
Okay, yes, Nyawa. Yeah, I've heard her sing a few times. So she's got a beautiful voice, especially for one of our young women in the communities, our connecting communities. And yeah.
Is that all? I was just getting ready to dance.
Trust me, I have 45 minutes of this, but that was the one that I thought incorporated a little bit more of music so we can just sand at the same time.
Yeah, it looks like Rin's little one there was moving to the music there.
So when did we start using the 150?
When you're satisfied with the smoothness that you've gotten with the 80 grit. So basically it's mainly on the top and the bottom that those lines, you don't feel those lines anymore, but you feel a nice rounded feel to it. And the more you can do with the 80 grit, then when you switch to the 150 grit, it makes that real easy. But a little secret, and I always get the jab in the elbow in the side for saying this, but from a technical sanding point of view, these frames are probably 80% good to go the way you've received them. What this is all about is our good energy. The main part of this is about our good energy going into these frames. So that's why we thought we're going to leave them with everybody for a few days or a week or even 2 weeks, as long as you want to keep them. And the more good energy that goes into these, then what we're doing, it's almost like a relay that maybe call it a spiritual relay, that we're prepping everything spiritually in these frames so that when the wood burners come into play next, then they're going to have all that good energy from us already helping them with the wood burning next. And then when they're laced up, all of that combined good energy is going to help there. So can you imagine, like just from an energy perspective, when these drums are in the hands of the artist to paint them, oh boy, they're going to be so inspired. So having said that, some of us, some of us have a lot of good energy that we can just expel like that. And others like myself, it's like little bits over a period of time. So for me, I would probably need 2 weeks working on these on a frame. Other people, maybe 2 hours and they'd be done.
Yeah, so with that completion of them all, once they come back from the artists, I guess there were two areas that that I'm hoping that they can be displayed in. Um, and Carissa mentioned this other project that we did, and I forget, that was like, I don't know, probably a good 10, 15 years ago, I think it seems. And so we were able to display them up in downtown here in St. Catharines at the Niagara Arts Center, and it looked beautiful how they displayed them on the wall. It was like almost like water. It was like a flowing um, seams of them, like, and they were like 99 drums that were displayed, and just the images that were on them. But and then the majority of them were done by children. Um, a good number of them anyway, done by children. And so with this one, and this is going to be open to the different artists. And so when they come back, and the two areas that I'm looking at having them displayed is well, kind of three, I guess, but mainly we want to have them displayed here in Niagara at some point, and probably at the Performing Arts Center. So we're not even sure like what that's going to look like, or where that will be, but like, I guess kind of like, I don't know, my idea, I guess, is kind of like having like an opening night for it when it starts the display. And and we did a couple things like some years ago, I think in 2006, we did a couple of different kind of like arts presentations, which included dancing, singing, and the visual arts. And we had this kind of like opening in the main foyer of Ridley College, and had the presentations done on the stage in their auditorium, but on the outside in the hallway, like, was just like when you would go to a live theater. There were different artists that were set up with the different arts, and we had like kind of snacks and drinks. Say it was like strawberry juice was the drink that was shared, and then all we had different people make all these mini scones, and we had different toppings on them. So that was the snack part, of the of that kind of opening. And so it was a really nice atmosphere, friendly, like there's so many connected from different places. And this was all like, it was all free. Everything was donated. People donated their time, donated their talent, their energies, and even Ridley College donated the facility. And so everything come together so nice with that good energy. And so, and we can feel this already, like, and although the project's been kind of in the working for a little bit now, even that energy of it moving forward has been pretty amazing. And so having it displayed here in Niagara, and then I would like it to be displayed also with the Cheney Winjack family in their community, and then possibly with the Downey family as well. So kind of looking at those three main areas, I guess, to have them travel to that area. And then hopefully there's going to be maybe requests, or even at least that they can be displayed in the various performing arts centers. Because with ours here in Niagara, it can have that connection and kind of that support of other performing arts centers. kind of around the country even. And so that's kind of the idea and the plan of kind of showcasing them in different communities, again, to bring that awareness of uh, the story of its evolution, right? From that thought to people working on them in different areas of our communities, and wherever that might be, eh? We may be shipping some of these frames off to other parts of not only Ontario, but other provinces. And I had a good connection yesterday with a fellow in BC. So I'm going to hope that we'll have different connections right across the country with being able to have those support circles for us as we move forward. So that's the kind of the display aspect, I guess, of these drums once they are all completed, and hopefully that some from our group will be able to maybe travel with them if it's not too far, to be kind of like at the opening evening when they go on display in the different communities. But for sure, for everyone to be available when it goes on display here in Niagara, which I think what the plans will be for the first exhibit for in Niagara here.
We would like to hear another good news story. Who's up? Do we see any hands?
Anybody there?
How about we select somebody? Put them on the spot.
No, just one.
Gina, there's a hand.
I can't have you with silence. So we just finished a project for the PATH project, the Paddle Art Tour of Haldeman. And right before lockdown, we were kind of nervous to think that we wouldn't have the re-rod that would support the 24 paddles. So our local welding shop, which is Vic Powell's, said, you know, Gina, don't worry, we won't leave you stuck. We'll get all 10 feet per 24 sections for you. So they did. And then our local high school, which is Phil Klein, the teacher there, said the same. He said, we won't leave you stuck. And so the kids for 1 week, they worked after school. They did the best that they could, and they created the 24 installation pieces and literally dropped it off the day before lockdown, which was unbeknownst to us. So it was quite amazing. And that's like just gave, you know, that project. So very cool.
Thank you. I know it's amazing what can happen when we all pull together, and share with our gifts. Another perfect example of how that works. Anyone else in the...
I think we should get Fran to tell the story about what we're doing with food for 1492 Landback Lane, if she doesn't mind. I can tell it, but I'd like to hear her tell it.
Okay, I can tell that story. So as some of you probably are aware, there's people that are on the land in Caledonia, and they're putting their, you know, they're putting their lives aside to stay on the land and stand up for themselves. And I think it was Gina actually who said, as the weather started to get cold, you know, and we think about the people there, and like, whatever your opinions about what they're doing, they are standing up for what they believe in, right? So I think that's really powerful. It is for me, and I know for Rob as well. So at some point, Gina said, you know, it's getting cold. They're gonna need some food, you know, the warm food. And so I do credit Gina with that. So we did, I think we sort of put together a meal, and, you know, we took it up there. And then I guess it just kind of grew a little bit like organically. So what we have now for, I think it's about 192 days, a group of maybe 10 or 12 people have been providing a warm meal every day and delivering it up to 6 and 6 to the camp there. And, you know, most of the people are of a higher age range. I don't want to say older people, but, you know, we're older people. We've had some people, you know, donate gift certificates and different things, but mostly people are just sharing what they have and cooking a meal. And then we have people that drive it up there. So that's been happening now for, you know, how many months is that?
I don't even know.
Yeah. And the one nice thing is that, you know, you feel like you're, of course, providing food to people is saying, you know, we care about you. And, you know, it is that connection. And I think most of the people cooking are non-Indigenous people, right? Is that right?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. And people that are just learning about things like residential schools. And, you know, sometimes you drop off food and we have conversations with people that are there and we're all learning a lot. So yeah, it's been, and especially, you know, during lockdown, it's quite an impressive thing that people have committed to. And it's really great. Did I tell everything? Anyone need to add? Yeah.
And now,
Thank you. Yeah, Jinesh.
well, when you mention about food, and for us even culturally, that's a very relevant piece. And I hear we've heard reminders from those older ones too that that's one of the first things that you offer visitors, anybody coming into your home, that you see that they're rested or like comfortable, and then offer something to eat and to drink. And that's one of the oldest, I guess, traditions, and for a lot of people. And you see how vital that is. Like you said, it just shows that you care, that you have that you're sharing that gift, right? And so I think that's a pretty awesome thing to be able to sometimes, if food is all that we can help with, that's huge.
We were asked to to share about the teachings that we embrace with our drums and always have with the 13 moon. And so you've probably heard that number 13 a little bit in this workshop, and it's due to the fact of we incorporate 13 pieces in each of our drum frames. And one of the things that we've been told through different teachings is that we become distracted sometimes as society, and we're born. We come from our mother's water first and foremost in this physical. When we come into this physical realm, and so we exist in nature just like all of our relations. That includes everything, Jack, you mentioned in the opening. And we're always connected, always will be. As long as we're alive and taking a breath, we're connected. But then there's a man-made, what they call a man-made frequency that evolves around these kind of things, like clocks and computers and different things like that. That we look at nature and we come up with things that kind of mimic nature, but they don't exist in nature. And we use those to kind of adapt to our lives, or maybe more accurately, we tend to adapt our lives to these artificial constructs that we create. But we're still connected naturally. And so there's almost like this tug of war between what feels natural, that is natural, and then what we come up with in our minds and try to incorporate in our daily lives that is more on the artificial side of things. And what happens is, what we've been told is that long time ago, people who, and it was funny when it was shared this way, that people who wanted to get smarter, they would put them under the ground in caves to make them smarter. And so they'd spend a lot of time there, and the frequency is different as you go subterranean. And so you get smarter supposedly by going deeper. Deeper you went, the longer you stayed, the smarter you'd get when you came out. But there were some drawbacks to that. One, you were away from the sunlight for extended periods of time. Your eyes would then have to adapt as you came back out. But it was a way to become enlightened and a lot more smarter. But with the frequency of the Earth is constantly changing, and we're told now that the frequency of Mother Earth is at a point now that we are walking on the surface now, and we're being immersed in this higher frequency, just like our ancestors were, but they had to go underground. And so every day that we're awake and we're walking and even just being in our homes, that frequency is impacting on us, and it becomes a little bit unnerving to us because we're not sure what's going on sometimes. We're so used to the distraction of, call it the artificial distraction of the man-made frequency, timing, way of looking at things. So what we thought is, not only is this Dewegun a powerful medicine with the vibration that emanates, that frequency of the drum itself, and when we put our voice to it in combination with that, but it can also be a reminder to us. It can be a form of a calendar. And so that's why we set out with the 13 sections to represent each of the 13 moons. And it's funny when you have a drum and you're sitting with it, you're quiet, and you may feel like singing or sounding that drum, but you may feel like just sitting there and being conscious of what that inner part of that drum represents with those 13 moons. And interestingly enough, we're in that time. And oh, by the way, we've adopted, because there's different variations of the moons, and we've adopted the Anishinaabe around the Great Lakes way of those 13 moons. And we've just come out of that sucker moon time, and we're into that flower. We're just kind of coming into that flower moon now. And you notice outside all of the beautiful flowers, all these beautiful colors are emerging. The trees, the blossoms, all of the shrubs, the flowers from bulbs that were dormant in the winter, they're coming out now so vibrant. And that moon that we'll transition to next is that strawberry moon. And that strawberry moon, that represents that reconciliation, where people will come together and put aside their differences and kind of look at how we can move forward as one, more tightly connected as one, as opposed to being different opinions and kind of clashing a bit as we might do throughout the course of the year. And so it's a time where we can reflect on how connected we really are and always will be with the natural timing frequency, and embrace it. And rather than fear it or feel that we're losing our marbles sometimes, we can look at that as it's just another step in evolving spiritually. And our Mother Earth is helping us with that. And so that's one of the things that we stay focused on when whatever type of work we're doing with the drums, is that we're always being helped. we're always being guided. And so we just wanted to share that about how strong the connection is for us with those 13 moons in. And so this project is no different in that we have that natural support from our Mother Earth.
How's everyone feeling with that sanding process? Good. All right. Thumbs up. All right. Yes. It's one of the things too that kind of just helps, like just to calm you down. You can even feel everything within your own body just like, whoa, settle. And yeah, it's some good medicine for sure. And it just with those reminders that Oliver was mentioning, just with that connection with that natural world, and however or whatever we do with that, whatever we are connected with, and sometimes there's more things that that affect us than others. Like for myself, I really like the water, but I also like the woods as well, just to going for a walk in the woods and just checking out everything that's there, especially taking our little ones on a hike out there. And so we've had some different areas to take them, because our oldest grandchildren are young adults pretty much now. So but when they were little, as with the little ones now, we took them to a certain hiking trail, which was in the woods, but it wasn't as challenging, with some rocks and cliffs and different things. And so it's a little bit easier to navigate being a toddler. So just having that though in our areas that we can experience that, like even like Michelle Lee's having those eagles like within feet of her place there, and because a lot of people I know watch for them throughout Niagara, to be able to see them, and it is a gift to be able to see that. And because I'm not even sure how many we have here in Niagara, but I remember a few years back when a group brought some to the Niagara area to introduce them and to encourage them to nest here in Niagara. And some of them did, and some of them traveled across the lake and went to other areas. So it's pretty awesome to see them here in our midst periodically.
One of the things that we were looking at with today's workshop are taking some snippets, video snippets, and incorporating them into our social media site and our webpage site, so that people could go there and can go there and kind of get a feel for what's going on within this project. And so we're going to reach out to the general public right now and ask you, or invite you, I should say. We're going to invite you to.
What are you doing? Oh, it's Lumpy. Okay. Okay, hold on. Just a minute.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, he's off of the.
Oh, we did too, yeah. Okay, hold on for a second, general public. We'll be right back with you.
You forgot to say after this short
After this short commercial break. can still continue. So anyway, this is a call out, an invite to the general public to host your own sanding workshops to become part of this project. And right now, as with this one today, we are doing this one virtually. And so we're prepared. We can make sure we get the kits to you, just like everybody who's participated today. And we're still keeping our fingers crossed that, excuse me, that sooner than later, we'll be back into doing the workshops in person and be able to offer up big hugs again. We're both big huggers. So, but for the time being, we're great with facilitating the workshops virtually. And so if you have a group of people who maybe just want to make a difference and become involved in something where other people are involved in making a difference as well, check out our website and the social media sites, and we're all ready to go. Excuse me. And we'd be glad, absolutely honored to work with you in putting on a workshop. We haven't got Lumpy back yet, eh?
Not quite yet. They're trying to log back in.
Ashlyn, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, do you have a good news story that you'd like to share with everybody?
I can't really think of anything.
How about your interaction with a certain little four-legged you-know-who?
Oh, the squirrel?
Sure. Glad you wanted to offer that one. Take it away, Ashlyn. Maybe I've been trying to wake him up, but he's sound asleep back here right now.
That little squirrel, oh my. He's so full of energy. Like you don't think like you actually see a squirrel like jumping everywhere. I can't even begin to like explain how awesome it is to actually see a squirrel, like a baby squirrel that actually likes you.
Ashlyn, do you want to share as well about what you're going to help Duda and I do this next week with our little friend?
About releasing him.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to. I'm pretty
sure.
Yeah. I have a feeling he's probably not gonna go. Who knows?
That's probably your wish and Oliver's wish is that he's not going to scamper too far away, but I think he's good.
I have friends who befriended squirrels in their yard, and they come back every year with their children now.
Wow.
They come to the window to get nuts and things like that, and they bring their children.
Uh-oh. Rin, have you got a good news story you'd like to share with us?
Oh, okay. Let me think. Well, I was out a couple weeks ago, out on a nature trail just in St. Catharines, and we come across this beaver, and it's just chilling out there. I was with Fred Bowering, and he's telling me about how you keep seeing this beaver around, and we just bumped into it. So like I just like when I see animals and stuff, I'll just go up and be like Nana Bojo to them kind of. And then the beaver just kind of stuck around for a bit and was just hanging out, chilling with us. So that was really nice because I'd never been that up close to a beaver before. So just to see how like really nice their coat is. I understand why people liked wearing them as hats, but I would never. Oh my, oh no.
Oh, oh, we lost him. I know they're such beautiful animals.
Can you hear me if I talk?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you, Krista.
Okay, because I'm on the move right now. But it just started raining where I am driving, which is only about 10 minutes from my house, and it was bright and sunny when I left. And I just saw a heron in the water at Beaver Dams Road.
Oh, wow.
Just sitting there. On Thursday, Aaron and I were out on a drive, and we had an eagle fly right in front of us, just up the road from Brock.
Wow.
It just like we see this thing come up from the ground on the side, and we both look, and then all of a sudden it's in front of us, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's an eagle, and he just ran in front of us, and then on the other side landed down in the ground. I'm sure he was grabbing something to eat. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see that. And my teaching partner, the same day that this week, had an eagle in a tree in her backyard. So she sent me a picture of it. So just in this little area that I travel on a daily basis, we know of at least 3, because there's one at Malcolmson Eco Park as well. And there's apparently a pair there, but I've only seen one from that location as well. But that's going to bring me to my good news story. Those were good news stories too, but Malcolmson Eco Park is a little forested area by my work that I love, and it has water through it, and it leads us to water as well. And usually every year in the school year, on every Friday, we take our kinder kids over there, and we walk through the forest, and we walk to the water, and we just let them just walk and wonder and question what they see and just enjoy that time. And with this online learning and not being at school, we haven't been able to do that as much last year and this year. And one of my little boys was excited to tell me a couple weeks ago that there were baby owls at Malcolmson Park. And so I was excited to get down there and see them. And I was very happy to know that my students are still going to Malcolmson, even though we're not going as a group. And then they're sharing that with us when we get to our online learning. And some parents had never been to Malcolmson. So their children introduced them to Malcolmson and said, well, the baby owls are there, we have to go. So that's exciting to me. I like that part, that they're still doing it, even though we haven't been there, and we haven't actively been talking about it. And then in about a week, the student is going to teach the other kids about the owls that are there, what kind they are, and share some pictures. So he is going to be the teacher teaching us all in about 2 weeks. So it's pretty good.
Yes. Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much. And that, I think, is our little ones are the teachers. And we just need to be open to that and to see that and to acknowledge all of that they are the teachers. So that brings me to mind. Are you okay, Carissa?
I am, and I might get disconnected. I'm not sure, but if I do, I'll just try to jump back on.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll be finishing up in a little bit. But
Okay.
that I guess kind of brings me to mind also of those young people. And this is from a coworker um, of mine, and she just shared this with me the other day. And this is about her little guy, and he's like 5 years old, so maybe a little bit older than the ones that Carissa has in her classrooms. But I've seen like wow, some of the things and that curiosity that they have, even just going through that park and noticing that and questioning that there are people living there. And so even just going into that even more. So my coworker's little guy, that's what his curiosity was about as well, is with this COVID thing, and the little ones know all about that. And what or who is helping the homeless people. And so she the mom said that, well, that was a good question. There's some, but she doesn't know like all of the information or who or what is happening to help the homeless. And so this little guy decides that he wants to help the homeless people. And what he is going to do is to grow some food. So he wants to grow tomatoes and give them to the homeless people. And so here's his idea is that so they went and got some seeds. So he's already like in that process with some plants. And so he wants to take care of them and grow these giant tomatoes. He's calling them giant tomatoes. And then he's going to hand them out to the homeless, him and his mom, because even what brought her to the attention of him sharing that too was he was making a sign, and he was drawing and doing this little sign. And when she asked him what he was doing, he was making a sign for her vehicle so she can put it on her vehicle to let people know that she's carrying giant tomatoes for the homeless. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a precious little bundle that is, to think of that and to try to get that message out there. And so then his other idea is that his father then can sell the tomatoes. And so what he said to sell them for $4. So he's going to sell the tomatoes, giant tomatoes for $4. And I thought, whoa, I says, well, put me on the list. I'll buy some of these tomatoes. Because I thought, whoa, like how, like you see young people, sometimes they've got a lemonade stand alongside of the road in the summertime, eh? And it's just a hoot to just go and support them. And no matter like what they are, and if they've made it or they've had some help with making it, but it gives them just that connection to the community. And then I thought, whoa. And so I think it is going to be our young people, though these little ones up and coming, this new generation that's coming forward that are going to make some great changes in our community, especially with that line of thinking, that line of thought, and even that action of what they're doing to make a difference. That's going to go a long ways, because that's even with this idea of these 101 drums. It was an idea, it was a thought, and then some conversation. So once we put that thought into words and put it out there, it's no longer just ours. And that's what we've seen happen with this initiative, of these 101 drums. And that's kind of like the same thing. And what I'm hearing too, is and so to me, even hearing those signs of those children, or even that good energy, hearing the signs of seeing those eagles out there in our communities, different places, different points throughout, seeing those different messages, paying attention to those creatures, because they all have a significant message because even Rin acknowledged that beaver, and that's even one of the creatures that are in the seven grandfather teachings. And so what is all of the gifts of that beaver? What are all the gifts of that eagle or that heron? All of these different things, that are coming to us. And in sharing these stories and in sharing these messages of these sightings, that to me is a really good energy, a really good medicine that we have there. And Carissa, you wanted to say something else, or no? Was that? I thought I seen a hand up, but it might be just our our own thing here. Yeah, that's our own hand here. And we did lose Lumpy. I guess he's having some challenges with his computer. And Rin also, I'm not sure. Hopefully everything's okay there. He kind of left in a quick hustle there, but I think sometimes those computer things does things real quick, and boom, it
Yeah.
can be gone. So hopefully we'll maybe if Michelle Elise can check in with him and see that everything's okay there, and we can check in with Lumpy as well, see where things are. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Unfortunately, Rin's computer died too then already.
Well, I think we'll get ready to close here now. Oh, he is all good and love being with everyone. Oh, excellent.
That was Rin's message, that he is good and love being with everyone here today. And we loved having him. So that was a good, and especially his little one too, sharing his little one with us here.
Yeah.
To see the friendly faces. And same with Jessie, her little ones, the
nuggets,
Boulay nuggets.
Yeah.
So we were able to see them as well. And yeah, so just some different connections that we have. And just thank you so much for everyone sharing in with that. And being willing to share not only yourselves, but your family and your space as well, and all of those good messages that we had there today. So if there's anything, anyone and have anything final that they want to say or share? Okay, Rob, go ahead.
I've got my IT person unmuting me. I just wanted to say, you know, I don't have any quick good news. I have like these, what I've noticed as I'm getting older and embracing getting older and you know, so grateful to get older. I noticed that things just keep coming back around. And I noticed that, you know, every year I'm probably going to hear about something good and say yes to it. And then I'm going to look over one day and I'm going to see Gina, you know, as one of the people on the email, or I'm going to go to a, you know, a meeting, and there she's going to be. Same with Michelle Elise, where, you know, I say yes to my friend Tim Johnson, and, you know, I get involved with something, and then, you know, year after year or 3 years later, oh, there's Michelle Elise again, you know, and I just, and same with you, Jackie and Oliver, you know, where it just keeps coming back around, you know, and the fact that it sometimes takes a while to come back around is so beautiful to me, right? And you know, Jackie, you said some things about water. I don't even remember what the meeting was. It was at the Lifespan Center. Do you remember, Franny? There was a event. I can't even remember what it was.
It was like the wellness fair or something.
Oh yeah, the wellness fair. That's right. And Jackie and Oliver kind of. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, thought we lost you there.
No, we're still here. We can hear you.
Good. Jackie and Oliver, you kind of started out the day, I think it was, and you know, there I was in a circle. We were standing in a circle, and there was like, I don't know, 80 people there, you know, and Jackie, you talked about water, and that was a couple of years ago now, and I've carried that with me every moment since then. And yeah, I'm just so grateful, you know, that this kind of thing happens, right? And now I know in the future, probably I'm going to get on something and Jess is going to be there, you know,
Yeah.
in real life, or, you know, or this way, which I don't feel disconnected, you know, when I see these faces on my screen and I hear your voices. It doesn't feel like, oh gosh, I don't feel like anything's missing. Sure, I'd love to be in a room with everybody, but this feels pretty good. So I just, I don't know. My good news stories they're interwoven, and they're all about ripples that bounce off the other side of the lake and come back. And I guess that's what I wanted to say. And I just wanted to say, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to hear everyone's words today. And yeah, thank you all.
Okay, now Chimiguet, Rob. Yes, that's awesome. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
And lots more good words to come. Oh, does anybody else have anything they'd like to offer before we do our closing? We're good.
Okay. Yes, we just want to thank everyone for being a part of this today, kind of like to help us, I guess, to launch the workshops as far as the sanding aspect of it, and just to bring people together, okay? Bring that good energy together. And I agree with Rob that yes, this isn't the ideal way for us to gather, but the Creator always provides something for us that we are able to still gather. And who would have thought, like, I don't know, like when I sat with my elders there, and that was it, eh? You were there in person, and then the cassettes were the first thing that, okay, yeah, sure, record this, hey, to kind of hang on to this. And then it evolved into other things, and here we are, we're still gathering, we're still able to be a part of each other's circles in such a good way. And just to recognize that, yeah, that we are a part of each other's circle, and those connecting circles. And like Rob said, like it's all these different circles that we've been a part of, and then whoa, and then something brings us together. The more faces in that circle, into the one circle. And I think those are what's going to kind of multiply and become bigger circles in so many ways down the road. And so, yeah, so we just want to just offer our humble gratitude for everyone for being a part of this, supporting this project in whatever way. And part of it is going to be just like letting your friends, letting your circles know, hey, what's going on, and to kind of maybe to direct them to that website. And thank you, Jesse, for putting that on in a chat place there to just connect. And however we can get people involved. And yeah, did you want to say anything?
Well, Michelle Elise was mentioning about earlier with Sarah and Annie, and one thing that came to my mind when I was listening was that long time ago, when we first started working with hides, we one of our elders, Warren Sky, and you can read this on the website. I posted a good news story about Warren, and he came out and was speaking to us out at where we were working, and he saw how many hides we had there, and he says, he says, you really should, if you want to remain healthy, you really need to consider honoring each and every one of those spirits of those animals that have given themselves so that you can do what you're doing and to help keep the culture alive. And he asked us where we got them from, and we said, well, from the local hunters. And he said, you know, for the most part, they're a really good bunch of people, the hunters. But he says sometimes, you know, maybe just because they don't know or how they've been taught, or he said, but they may not fully respect the animals the way we would like them to, and the way we need to. And he says, you know, there's a way to interact with that animal, and one way is that when we ask before we even consider going out to hunt, that animal produce itself, and then if we're successful, then we offer that tobacco for that, let's say that deer, for instance, for that deer to continue its spirit journey. And as much as part of that deer will remain to help us, there's a part of us that leaves with that deer. So there's a relationship that happens there. And he said to us, he says, you need to really consider, because you don't know for sure whether the hunters have been able to make that connection, that relationship with each of the animals that they've harvested. But you guys need to. And because if you do, you'll find those gifts will really keep helping you. And if you don't, and we saw this firsthand, you can become physically sick, mentally sick, emotionally sick, and spiritually sick as well, because it's almost like you're taking for granted that what the animals are giving to us. And so because we've done that, and we continue to do that with each and every offering that the animals have presented to us, we see that that's why when it came to accessing the rawhide for this project, we originally were told by the our contact at the tannery that we would have all the hide we would need donated, and that was back in 2019. And so it was just after the whole wave of COVID hit, we went back to the tannery thinking that everything was still a go, but it had changed from 100% donation to zero donation. And that, sorry, but he couldn't, because he didn't know what, it was uncertain times, and he said he could reduce the cost a little bit, but that was it. And so we thought, well, you have the frame, but without the hide, you don't have a drum. And so we really didn't know where we were going to go. And then all of a sudden, the gift of the animal, it just changed. It was always on track, but it just changed. It came from another source, to where when Michelle Elise put things in motion, and then we met with Sarah and Annie, and we thought, kind of like our wearing our hearts on our sleeves when we met in a park with them the one day, and we mentioned the project, and Jackie noticed out of the corner of her eye that Sarah and Annie were kind of nodding in agreement with each other, eh? And we didn't even have to finish our spiel or our pitch to them, and they'd already said, yes, of course, sounds awesome, we're in. And so it just goes to show that when you're doing something, you're on a good path, and it's for the right reasons, basically to help in whatever way we can, that we're all conduits for that, that, I guess, a kind of a change to happen in our lives collectively. So I'm just grateful every day that to be a part of this ourselves, and to have every one of you and everyone who's joined in this this first virtual workshop with us, and who will be joining in others to come. It really means a lot to all of us. I think we can speak on behalf of every one of us who have been gathered here today. So it's just great to be in this group, in this circle.
Mhm.